Hello, this is Carol from Carol Ann Creates. I'm just going to show you how to carry the yarn on my new pattern that I'm making here. It's a Argyle Scarf, and as you can see, the pattern's turning out quite nice. I'm quite happy with it. I'm using stone washed yarn here. The normal hook size for this is 3 to 3.5 millimeters there. But I'm using a 4.5 because I want to get a nice drape, and as you can see, I hope you can see that it's quite a nice soft drape there. I don't want a stiff scarf. The stitches are they look a bit looser, but I think they look okay. On this pattern, it's a little different to most patterns. I'm actually in this section here. I have to keep looking at the camera to make sure I'm in frame here. And this section here, every row is done with the background colour, which is colour A, and I'm using the black here. And in every row from about here up, I have to carry whichever colour I'm using. It's either the pink one or the turquoise here on every row. And so I'll just show you then how I do that. It's actually called Tapestry Crochet, Tapestry Mosaic Crochet, because it's carried yarn. First of all, what I want to show you is if in a row like this, if the first stitch is the carried yarn, you can either do your border stitch in that yarn if you like, but I actually want all my border stitches to be the same, the background colour yarn. So I'll just show you how to start off if your first stitch is that colour. So I start everything with a slip knot, doing a standing single crochet for that first stitch. Now, if I'm using the carried yarn as my first stitch, just untangling something here. So I've pulled through once on the background colour yarn, and now I will just pull through on the carried yarn to get that. Oops, losing control of my yarn. Just to get that first stitch ready there. And as you can see, that's ready now to do my first, if I wanted to do my first stitch in the carried yarn. But on this row that I'm doing now, I'm not doing my first stitch in the carried yarn. I'll just do another slip knot. My first stitch is going to be in the background colour. So I pull one loop through, and now I have to lock in my background colour, so I put it across here. And then pull through the second loop. And so that's kind of locked in there. I just make sure I've got it long enough because I'm doing a bit of a fringe here. And my pattern, I'm doing row 15 here. My pattern is, I don't know if you can see, I've got 4 single crochets to do there. I'll just do the first. So you always make sure that your carriage yarn is over your hook there, so it gets crocheted over. So I'll do 2 stitches to start with. Now on the previous row, I did double crochets, and at the back there was some yarn that wasn't, as you can see, in a few spots. When behind the double crochets, I just find it really difficult to crochet them in. So on the next row, I go over these longer stretches. So they're all behind the double crochets. So I'm going to, for my next stitch, I go over the carriage yarn and then the loose yarn, the loose bit at the back there. So that's 3 single crochets, and then I'm on the 4th one. I've still got that carriage, that loose bit there as well. Now I'm changing over to the carried colour. Because so I've got my 4 single crochets there and my border stitch. So on this pattern, I'll just show you here. Oops, wrong needle. On this pattern, I've marked on here with, I don't know if you can see that, with the black dots there mean that a single it has to be made. That stitch has to be made in the carried colour, the carried yarn. So they're single crochets there, but they have to be done in the carried yarn for the pattern to work out. So now I'm just doing my first one in that colour, and I'm also going over that little stretch at the back there and carrying the other yarn. So I'm actually going over a lot of stitches, a lot of bits of yarn here. So that's one, back through the back loop, and then through that loose yarn at the back again, and I've also got my carried yarn. When you change colour, your other colour becomes the carried yarn. Now the next one is a DC down here. Now on the pattern, there's a little stretch here of 3 stitches that are in pink, but because they're going to be covered over by a DC, as you can see on the next row, it doesn't matter what colour that stitch is here. So you don't have to keep, don't have to change back to the other colour, the background colour here. You can just continue on with the blue yarn. So it's only necessary to change back to the background colour when we get to the on the pattern. It's white squares there. So I'm just going to do those 3 stitches with the same colour, and of course I'm still carrying my my background colour here. And now I don't have to go over the loose yarn at the back because it's only where the DCs are from the previous row that there's loose yarn at the back. So I'll just do 3 SCs here. And now there's another DC. This is all in US terms, but my patterns, well, my most recent patterns are all in both terms, UK and US terms. Just trying to untangle my yarn here a bit. That's what happens with tapestry crocheting. Okay, so I have 2 more. Now I'm back to the DC, so I know there's going to be some loose yarn at the back I need to go over, as well as my carried yarn. So there's 2, and I have to go back to my background colour, my colour A. So I pull that through on the last pull through there. So I've got my two stitches that are there, and now I'm going to use the background colour. And I'm still on the DC, so I've got that other loose yarn at the back that I'm crocheting over. So I'm past the DC, so there's no more loose yarn in this little section here. And when there's only one DC, I don't bother picking up that bit of loose yarn at the back because it's not really, isn't really a problem. Now my next stitch is going to be the turquoise one here again. So I've pulled through one loop and then change yarn to pull through the the carried colour yarn. And now I'm carrying the background colour. And then a DC. Tangled yarn. You know, one of these days I'll work out a way that the yarn doesn't get so tangled. But I've just realised now that I need to change back to my background colour, because as you can see there, I have to do 3 background colour stitches. So on the last pull through again, I pull through the background colour and now crochet over the turquoise colour. And I have to change again here, back to the turquoise, and it's on the last pull through again of the previous stitch, and the next one's a DC. And 2 SCs. And then another change to the background colour again. And there are going to be a few more here. See how nicely that's turning out. And so I will show you what the back looks like. Because being a scarf, you don't want the back to look too messy. I just put that in there so it doesn't come undone. So the back, it's not too bad. I mean, it's I know there's probably neater ways to you know, these are the little bits here where I've crocheted over the loose yarn at the back, and I'm sure there are ways to do that a bit neater, but I don't think it looks too bad. And so I just continue on here with the pattern. So that's it. And in these sections here, you can go again like I did here with the 3. Just went straight across in the blue yarn. It just saves having to change back to the background colour all the time and change again. So even in these long sections you can still do the same thing. Under here I've gone, I don't know if you can see it, yes I did all across in the turquoise colour there, and on the front you can't, it doesn't make any difference. So it just makes it a little easier than having to change yarn so frequently. So the pattern continues on the same now, so I hope this has been helpful for you, and thanks for watching.